So you're saying that why is it on there if it's not important? So do you believe that everything on a job application is then important? When they ask you to tell me, your last 3 schools you went to when you applying for a job at Macy's, you think that's important to them?
No, but when you ask something specific as race, what's the purpose of it? Like, there has to be a purpose of it.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying that there's no purpose. I'm not saying that. But I am just trying to open your mind a bit, even if I don't have the answer, to at least get us into a process of thought, right? Ideally that's what we all want to be, is progressive in our thought, in our thinking. We want to keep moving the needle forward. And so if we're going to make a statement like, well, if it's on the application, that means it's important. Why? It's clearly important to you. Why you ask me? Then okay, now we've said that everything on the application now has to be important.
Okay, so this is just where I bring up
But you
context.
just said that there's
No,
something that wasn't.
no, all right. This is where we bring up context. The whole conversation was about DEI, right?
Mhm.
If it doesn't matter, but you're saying they have a quota and they bringing up your race within the application, obviously you got to put 2 and 2 together. It makes sense. The context matters. So if you're asking my race and you have to meet a quota, that's why it matters. You got to diversify a company. If
Okay.
not, it looks bad.
Okay.
Because guess what? We live in a world in society now. If there is an all white company, niggas gonna complain. I don't give a crap what nobody said. They're gonna complain. All white male company. Guess who gonna come out and start protesting and complaining? So they're not stupid.
Okay. So let's just say you're right. Let's say you're right. Let's say you're right, and that it is important to them. They do want to diversify. They do appreciate the diversification in their company. They believe that a room full of any one particular or the same style of thinker is not a benefit to the furtherance of the company. Let's just say that. I could argue that's what I'm doing now. I didn't bring on someone who also thinks that everything that Trump is doing is wrong. I brought on someone who does think that Trump is doing right, so that we can actually have a conversation. And the idea, at least for me in producing the show, is to be a little better by the end of it. Either you or me or the viewer. So I am trying to achieve a certain level of ascension by bringing in diversity. That's the point. My issue is, or question is, how did diversity turn into such a bad thing? Because I'm pretty sure that you watch sports.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sport?
Football.
Football. Okay. Favorite team?
I don't really have one, but
Team that you like?
Let's say Ravens.
All right, Ravens. Perfect example. If the whole team was trying to think of someone. I don't want to use Henry because he can kind of do everything if you let him. What's your kicker's name?
Tucker.
Tucker. If your entire team was a perfect, exact example, replica of the build of Tucker, same thing. Every position, both sides of the field, both sides of the ball, including special teams. How dominant do you think that team would be?
Not at all, I don't think, but I wouldn't care.
Not at all. You wouldn't care. Fine. But the team would not be as successful because you got all the same thing. Everybody's the same. The reason that football teams look the way they do is because we need different things from different people. The same person can only bring us the same thing over and over. But maybe if we have this guy that grew up in Ohio and that kid that grew up in Jacksonville and that kid that grew up in LA, and they all have different builds and backgrounds and energies and personalities and thinkings and vision and view and capability. We put all that together, and we can now have a very complex group that allows us to have a very proficient team. Why can't a business be looked at the same way without it turning into it's racist?
The reason is because what if the company don't want to do that? What if the company just doesn't want to do that? They don't agree with it. This is freedom. This is a free country.
What company?
Any company. I'm just saying, if I was a black man, want motherfuckers that know how to cook soul food, I want all black folks. I don't want nobody saying nothing to me about nothing. Okay. This is they best fit for the job because they know what soul food tastes like. They understand it. They get it. They're good at it.
Okay.
I don't want nobody coming from Timbuktu to come and complain to me that it's all black people here. Why? Who cares? So what? Okay. You have an all black staff, sir. Why don't you have a white person here? So I do add the white person, but I treat them bad because I really don't want them here.
But why are you just treating them bad?
Because I don't want him here. Like I just had to have him here because he at this point he adds no value to the team because I want all good cooks here that know about.
Hold on. So because you're saying two different things. Because you didn't say that you brought on the white guy and he's a terrible cook. Because there are white men that can cook. We can agree with that. So why don't you just bring on a white guy that can cook? Solves your problem.
Like I was trying to explain to you, I want him to understand the culture of soul food. I want him to understand a lot of white folks don't understand the culture of it. They're not from this. They don't come from that. I want people that look like me that understand the culture of this. So when they come here, they can have the ultimate experience of soul food because you can explain to them why you feed them the food. Oh, this is where this come from. This person don't know nothing about that. So what could he add to my team other than just I have to have him here?
Cool. All right, then I'll give you that. I could go down the reasons of how you could work that out and have a sous chef that is white that brings something to the table and maybe elevates those soul food dishes, but have your hardcore main chefs be people that know the culture. But without even going into that, you could just hire him as something else. You could what if I don't? You can hire him to do marketing. Let's say you just so racist is what it sounds like right now. But let's just say you're so it has to only be black people. I don't want another background in this building because I'm trying to create the perfect atmosphere for the people that come here to dine. Let's say that's how you feel. Cool. Hire him to be your marketing guy and go outside and try to find some places where we can put up a food truck.
But you forcing me. What if I could hire a black guy that I like, that I want, that could do the same thing, but he could do it better because he understands where I'm coming from. So I don't come off as aggressive to him because I'm from the same culture as him. So if I tell him to do something, he won't be so offended that a black man is roaring at him or whatever the hell. At the end of the day, it's choice. The thing that I'm talking about is choice. If I don't want him here, I don't gotta have him here. It's just that simple.
I know, but that I agree with you that's
the American way.
I agree with you that is the thing. And I choose not to go into it because I'll be 100% honest, talking to another black man about how choice is the American way and the way that we were chosen to be dealt with is a really difficult conversation for me to even have with another brother looking at me, telling me anything that's not on the same page as me.